The steam from his coffee cup fogged the cold glass of the cafe window. Outside, the city was asleep. A blanket of white covered everything. Streetlights cast long, lonely shadows on the fresh snow. Inside, it was warm. The air smelled of roasted coffee beans and melting sugar. A low murmur of conversation filled the small space. Paulo took a slow sip. The warmth spread through his chest, a small defense against the winter night. Across the table, his friends Liam and Chloe were deep in a familiar debate. Mysteries, the world's great unsolved puzzles. It's the Bermuda Triangle, hands down, Liam said, leaning forward. Think about it. Ships, planes, just gone. No wreckage, no signals. It's a tear in the fabric of space-time. Chloe shook her head, a small smile playing on her lips. That's too Hollywood. It's all weather patterns and magnetic anomalies. The real mystery is older, deeper, like the Nazca lines in Peru. Who were they for? How could they create perfect images they could never see from the ground? They went back and forth. The pyramids, Stonehenge, the lost city of Atlantis. Each mystery was a fascinating, well-worn path. Paulo listened quietly, tracing the condensation on his cup. He loved these conversations, the way they stretched the mind, and made the world feel bigger, more magical. But he felt they were missing the greatest mystery of all, the one that was happening right now. Hidden in plain sight. You're all looking in the wrong place, Paulo said softly. His friend stopped and turned to him. The biggest mystery on Earth isn't ancient, he continued. It isn't a small triangle of ocean or a few lines in a desert. He paused, letting the weight of his words settle in the cozy cafe. It's an entire continent, Liam frowned. What are you talking about? Paulo looked out the window, at the falling snow. I'm talking about Antarctica. Why is an entire continent, bigger than Europe, almost completely off limits to ordinary people? Chloe leaned in, her eyes wide with curiosity. Antarctica? What's so mysterious about it? It's just ice. Come on, Paulo. It's not off limits. It's a scientific preserve, Paulo countered. Or is that the perfect excuse? A treaty signed by all the world's superpowers at the height of the Cold War, all agreeing to stay away from this one place. Does that sound like protecting penguins? Or does it sound like guarding a secret? It's governed by the Antarctic Treaty to protect its environment. It's dangerous. It shows the coast of South America with stunning accuracy, but it also shows something else. That's the story they tell you, Paulo said, his voice dropping to a near whisper. That it's just a desolate wasteland of ice. A place for penguins and scientists, but have you ever stopped to wonder why? The official discovery of Antarctica wasn't until 300 years later. And we didn't know there was land under the ice until the 1950s. So how did a 16th century admiral map a coastline that has been buried under miles of ice for thousands, if not millions, of years? Liam scoffed. Is it? The air in the cafe still smelled of coffee, but a different kind of chill had entered their small circle. The chill of a real modern conspiracy. Think about the maps, Paulo said, his gaze intense. Ancient maps. Like the Piri Reis map from 1513, it was drawn by a Turkish admiral. He paused again. Antarctica wasn't covered in ice. What if it was home to something or someone? It shows the northern coast of Antarctica. Land, mountains, rivers. But here's the mystery. It shows it without any ice. Liam shifted in his seat. It's probably just a coincidence. A misinterpretation of the coastline. Maybe, Paulo conceded. But what if it isn't? What if at some point in the not-so-distant past? He took another sip of his coffee. And then there's the military. Operation Highjump. 1946. Right after World War II, the U.S. Navy sent a massive military fleet to Antarctica. 13 ships, an aircraft carrier, nearly 5,000 men. The official story was that it was a training exercise in cold conditions. A training exercise with a full naval armada? It sounds more like an invasion force. They encountered heavy resistance, Paulo continued, his voice low and serious. They lost several aircraft and men. The mission was supposed to last for 6 months. They pulled out after only 8 weeks. The commander, Admiral Byrd, gave a strange interview when he returned. He warned of a new enemy that could fly from pole to pole at incredible speeds. What are they hiding down there? Chloe whispered, completely captivated. That's the question, isn't it? Paulo said. Some say it's a secret Nazi base built during the war, a refuge called Neuschwabenland. Others believe it's the real location at Atlantis, a civilization flash frozen in a forgotten age, and some believe it's not human at all. He let that last thought hang in the air. The idea of something alien, something ancient and not of this earth, sleeping beneath the ice at the bottom of the world. Paulo closed his eyes for a moment. The warmth of the cafe faded away. The smell of coffee was replaced by the clean, sterile scent of absolute cold. In his mind, he was there. He imagined stepping off a plane onto the Antarctic ice sheet. The first thing he felt wasn't just cold. It was pressure, the weight of the sky, the weight of the silence. The silence was a physical thing, a vast, empty presence that pressed in on him from all sides. There was no sound of birds, no insects, no rustling leaves. Only the whisper of the wind ... and the frantic drumming of his own heart. The world was a single blinding color, white, a white that stretched to every horizon, a white so pure and bright it hurt to look at. He imagined the journey inward, across the high polar plateau, a desert of ice 1,000 miles from the nearest coast. The sun was a distant, cold disk in the sky. It offered light, but no warmth. Here, you were not just isolated. You were on another planet. A planet that happened to be a part of your own. His imaginary journey took him to a place where the official world of science met the fringe world of mystery, a deep field drilling site. He saw the giant derricks, the insulated modules of a research station. Men and women in thick red parkas, their faces hidden by goggles. They were drilling into the ice, pulling up cores that were like glass pillars, holding the frozen breath of ancient atmospheres. They were reading the history of the Earth's climate, but Paulo imagined a different purpose, a secret mission. He imagined descending down into the hole they had drilled, a narrow, perfect cylinder dropping into the blue darkness. Down and down he went, past layers of ice that were 100 years old, 1,000 years old, 100,000 years old. The walls of the borehole were a library of time, each layer a frozen page. He went deeper, a mile down, 2 miles. The pressure was immense, the cold was absolute, and then he broke through. He emerged into a space, a vast, dark cavern beneath the ice. The air here was different, still cold, but not the biting, dry cold of the surface. There was a strange stillness, a feeling of incredible age. He was in one of Antarctica's subglacial lakes, a body of liquid water that had been sealed off from the world ... for millions of years. Scientists know these lakes exist. Like Lake Vostok, they have drilled close to them. They have found microbes, life in their frozen water. But in Paulo's mind, he was going further. He imagined a small submersible, its lights cutting through the perfect blackness of the water. The water was pristine, untouched, And as the submersible moved forward, its sonar began to paint a picture of the lake floor. It was not natural. The sonar showed straight lines, perfect angles, the unmistakable geometry of something man-made, or ... not man-made. The submersible landed. Paulo imagined stepping out onto the floor of the hidden lake. He stood before a structure. It was not a spaceship. It was not a temple. It was a wall. A smooth, black wall of a material that seemed to drink the light from his headlamp. It was featureless, seamless, except for a single, perfect doorway. He hesitated. Every instinct screamed at him to turn back. This was a forbidden place. A place humanity was not meant to see, but the curiosity, the need to know, was stronger. He stepped through the doorway. Inside, the air was warm, impossibly warm. A soft, ambient light glowed from the walls themselves. He took off his helmet. The air was breathable, rich. It smelled of wet earth and something else ... something metallic and strange. The floor was covered in a soft, bioluminescent moss ... that pulsed with a gentle blue-green light. He had found life, but it was unlike any life from the surface world. And then he heard it, a sound, a low, resonant hum. It wasn't a mechanical sound. It felt ... organic, like the purr of some colossal, sleeping creature. The sound vibrated in his bones. It seemed to be coming from everywhere at once. He walked deeper into the structure. The corridor opened into a vast chamber. The hum was louder here. The glowing moss illuminated the walls. And on those walls were carvings, symbols. They were not hieroglyphs. They were not letters. They were complex, geometric patterns that seemed to shift and move. The longer he looked at them, they felt like a language of mathematics and stars. He reached out to touch one. His fingers traced the cool, smooth lines of a symbol ... that felt older than human thought. And as he touched it, a feeling washed over him, not a thought, not an image, but a feeling of immense cosmic loneliness, and a sense of incredible, patient waiting. Whatever built this place was gone, or perhaps it was just asleep, and the hum was its dream. Paulo? Chloe's voice snapped him back. He opened his eyes. The cozy cafe came rushing back into focus. The smell of coffee, the soft chatter, the concerned faces of his friends looking at him. "You spaced out there for a minute," Liam said. "Everything okay?" Paulo blinked, his heart still pounding from his imaginary journey. He looked at the condensation on the window, at the safe, familiar world outside. "Yeah," he said, his voice a little shaky. "Everything's fine. I was just thinking." He didn't tell them what he had seen in his mind. How could he? Real. It was just a fantasy. A story woven from whispers and conspiracies, but it felt the conversation moved on. But Paula couldn't shake the feeling of that deep, resonant hum, the feeling of standing before something so ancient ... It made the pyramids look like they were built yesterday. Maybe the truth wasn't one single thing. Maybe it wasn't just a Nazi base or just an alien craft. Maybe it was a story far stranger than that, a story of multiple layers, hidden one on top of the other. A continent that holds not one secret, but many. The secrets of our planet's past climate, the secrets of life's incredible resilience, and perhaps the secrets of a chapter of history we have long forgotten, or were never meant to know. Maybe we're not supposed to know what lies beneath. Maybe the ice is not a prison. Maybe it's a veil, a shield protecting us from a truth we are not ready for, or maybe. Don't forget to like and comment your thoughts. What do you think is under Antarctica? And which mystery should we uncover next? It's protecting the truth. From us, the questions lingered in his mind long after the coffee was cold, and outside, the snow continued to fall, covering the world in a beautiful, silent mystery. If you enjoyed this story,